Hello again, everybody. Thank you for coming back to my channel. I hope you enjoyed the first three videos. This is video number 4. My name is Jeff Mauk, and if you're new here and you don't know what this is all about, I'm not going to get into it too much. I will just give a quick overview because my intention is to keep these videos short because I value your time. Um, and I don't want to bore you at all. This is not for everybody. This is for people who are interested in finding and learning more about Jesus and who he was and what his ministry was about, because I believe that the object that we're talking about here was made by him for his ministry. This is the object, um, and I will tell you it is quite interesting and unique. And it is a salt cellar that was made to contain salt. And as you can see, it is covered with a symbol here that most of you will recognize as the Target logo. And it's interesting to me that that symbol is also on this object here. And it's approximately the same size. And this object here is also made of wood. This object here is on display at the Institute for the Study of Ancient Cultures at the University of Chicago. It's a very, very fine museum full of wonderful archaeological pieces from the Middle East and other places, ancient Samaria and Babylon and Israel and Egypt, Iran, Iraq. Wonderful, wonderful place to visit if you ever have the chance. And you can see that object on display there. And what I'm going to show you right now is a picture of the Last Supper, and there are several of them, several different versions around. This one I just happened to pick up somewhere. It's a small little thing here, but if you look closely at it, I'll point it out right here. You'll see a salt cellar, and salt is spilling out of it, and it's right next to Judas. And it's interesting that they depicted him as being a much darker shade than the other people in the painting. But Leonardo da Vinci was the painter of the Last Supper, and he painted the Last Supper from word of mouth that had been passed down since those days. There had been a tradition of Judas spilling the salt that had been discussed among people. So it very well might have happened that way. It has been bad luck to spill salt ever since. I said in one of my previous videos that I believed that Judas loved Jesus and that they fought, and that Judas spilled the salt intentionally to show how upset he was with Jesus for intending to continue on to a path that was going to lead to his death. And since Judas loved him, he didn't want that to happen. So he got very angry. They got in a fight. He spilled the salt. And then, according to the Bible, he betrayed him and went out and collected money for turning in Jesus. Now, if Judas really didn't want Jesus to die, it may be that he felt that he was acting to prevent Jesus from dying by getting him arrested, that somehow the authorities would intervene and maybe save his life. That may have been a naive opinion for him to have, or he may have known exactly what he was doing and did it anyway. There are those two different possibilities. The one where he intentionally did it, that's been examined quite a bit and considered. I don't think, to my knowledge, people have considered the possibility that maybe Judas didn't want Jesus to die, and his actions were based on trying to prevent him from dying. That goes into a different camp of theory, and it is just a theory. I'm not trying to convert anybody or deconvert anybody of their beliefs. I'm only trying to present possible outcomes of what might have happened. And you have things like, what's probable, what's possible, potential, and then you have what we know, what's certain, and then you have miracles that are unbelievable. Who can believe that a man walked on water and was raised from the dead and turned water into wine and raised other people from the dead? Those kind of things are called miracles. And I believe that most people believe in miracles today. And they defy our scientific explanations. If they're true, well, okay, then we have to rethink some things. But how do we prove that they're true? By their very nature, they're dependent upon your belief. And it is what you believe that you will act upon, whether what you believe is true or not. So be careful what you believe, because if what you believe is not true, and you're acting on it, and you're harming other people because of your belief, then that is your responsibility. And it may be you didn't intend to harm people, which is okay. And it's not, you have to have a belief in either good or bad. You don't have to have a belief in good or bad, but it helps us to be able to sort things out. If we can say this is good, this is bad. We know what hurts, what doesn't hurt. We can tell the difference between cold and hot, and pain and pleasure. When I was in first or second grade, I went into my principal's office at Ravinia School in Highland Park. And I was a little kid and I didn't know anything, and I went in there and I was so naive and sincere. And I asked the principal, Al Root was his name, and I said, Mr. Root, he said, what can I do for you, young man? And I said, well, sir, I'm having a problem understanding right from wrong. And he was very kind and sat down with me and explained to me that when you're doing right, you're helping other people. When you're doing wrong, you're hurting other people. And that was a beautiful and satisfying answer to me. And I've carried that with me. I haven't been perfect since that time, but I know the difference. And it's my desire to help people, and I hope I can help you today, wherever you are in your path through this life. We're all having challenges, and everybody has to deal with their own personal challenges. How you deal with it, that varies. You have your own set of issues, and there isn't a one-size-fits-all solution for everybody. But I did talk about hope, and a crazy kind of hope that I believe exists. And I believe that this is part of that evidence of that hope. And this is the salt cellar that I acquired in 2000, the year 2000, right around then. I bought it from a friend of mine named Tom, and he didn't know what it was at the time, and neither did I. It was several years, actually, before I even knew what a circumpunct was, even though I was a Latin scholar. I'd come across the word, but it never really dawned on me to think about it or experience it in this kind of a way. So that's a circumpunct, the Target logo. And if my theory is correct, and this was made by Jesus in El Fayum, Egypt, in around the year 100 AD, then this very well might be the salt cellar that was at the Last Supper when Judas spilled the salt, and 1,500 years later, Leonardo painted the depiction here, clearly showing the salt being spilled right there. It's coming out of some little bowl. But people have been looking for what they call the Holy Grail ever since. And by almost all accounts, the Holy Grail was associated with the Last Supper, or one of Jesus's artifacts. And I recently learned about salt being used perhaps to preserve the body in the burial process. This may have been that container, which would have been then possessed by Joseph of Arimathea, who was the one who owned the tomb where Jesus was buried. And Joseph of Arimathea also went and requested the body of Jesus and was granted the ability to take the body down and to bury it. And I think maybe in the next video we'll do some research on Joseph of Arimathea, because there's a lot of interesting stories about him. At this point, I'm going to try to conclude this video and keep it short, because I know you're busy and I value your time, and I want to make it interesting for you. If you have any questions, if you have any comments, please put them in the comment section below. Please subscribe and like this video. If you have any suggestions, any comments, or anything you want to share that can help us to decipher this mystery, I would greatly appreciate it. And hope you have a great day, a great week, a great month, a great life. And keep the faith, or get some faith. And remember, if the dogma is wrong, the stray dogma might be right.